In this video, I'm going to talk about Subaru's darkest secret. We all know that Subaru has some interesting hobbies, such as his cross-dressing habit, but Subaru actually has a more sinister secret that not many people are aware of. In this video, I will discuss Subaru's tendency to self-harm over the course of the series. If you're anime only, don't worry about any spoilers, as I will just be talking about certain acts without any context and will not spoil anything. However, the reason why I think this is very important to talk about is because, of course, this adds another dimension to Subaru's character and his self-harming behavior. And not only that, I do believe that it will not be included in an anime adaptation such as Season 3 or Season 4 of ReZero. Over the course of ReZero, I can only really come up with 4 distinct times Subaru has decided to self-harm. However, there may be more times he has done that. And do keep in mind, when I refer to self-harm, I'm not talking about times he's invoked return by death, such as when Rem was eaten by gluttony. He then, of course, killed himself to then utilize return by death. I'm not talking about those times, or like the time where he jumped off a cliff. The first instance of this is actually all the way back in Arc 2 of the light novel. When Subaru is cursed by Meilei's dog, you'll remember how in the anime Subaru sits in a chair waiting for whatever is coming to kill him. In the light novel, Subaru actually grabs his writing quill and he proceeds to stab his hand with it in order to stay awake. At first I thought this was actually reasonable, but after speaking to Gourmet of Gluttony, it apparently isn't uncommon for those that self-harm to do so in order to escape from intense emotions, as Subaru was in this scenario. Keep in mind, Subaru was drowsy from the curse, and not only that, he was also extremely fearful for the entity that was killing him. This behavior is also seen during Arc 4. After Subaru's death to the rabbits, Subaru immediately returns by death and immediately starts smashing his head onto the floor. Now, some people may say that this is reasonable or justified due to the gruesome way he died. However, this is actually something that Subaru does later on also. In fact, in Arc 7, Subaru, who heard certain words from a different ReZero character, immediately walked away from that character. He was alone, and then he started smashing his head into a wall with no restraint, only to be stopped by another character who was following Subaru. This is another case of Subaru being overwhelmed with these intense emotions, and then the first thing he does is smash his head into a wall to get away from that emotion. And keep in mind, this is in Arc 7, so it was very recent, and it seems that Tappei is highlighting this issue that Subaru has. However, if you still believe I'm reaching, the best and most concrete piece of evidence comes from Arc 6. In this, Subaru's hands were scratched and bloody, and as Beatrice inspects his hands, she also rolls up his sleeve to see numerous scars on his forearm. Not only that, the narration implies that Subaru's upper arm also has scars on it. Later on, Beatrice comments that it's Subaru's bad habit, and that Beatrice is familiar with this, which means that Subaru has been doing this even after the events of Arc 4, since that's when Beatrice and Subaru made their contract together. The narration also makes it very clear that these scars were from self-mutilation, and it seems that Beatrice may be the only one aware of Subaru doing this. The most interesting aspect about this is because, remember, if Beatrice is aware of Subaru's self-harm, again, it's very likely that this has happened and occurred over the events of Arc 4, since that's when Beatrice and Subaru would start sleeping together, which means that she would have come into contact with Subaru's arms to see Subaru self-harming. Not only that, this is after the events of Arc 4. In other words, by this point, Subaru has been knighted for his achievements against Sloth and the White Whale. He's made new friends, such as Otto and Garfiel. He's defeated the Great Rabbit. He's kissed Emilia. He's liberated the Sanctuary. He's confronted his past, met his parents, attended school again, and not only that, he was told by Satella to love himself, yet despite all of this, he still cuts his arms. So the question becomes why? I can't personally try and dissect Subaru's state of mind, but it could be due to not being able to save Rem and the fact that she was eaten by gluttony, maybe due to this sort of intense emotions of not being a hero. He cuts his arms to escape from letting down Rem, and that's the only sort of conclusion I can come through. But let me know if you have any other insights to add to Subaru's darkest secret. Thank you for watching.